Adam Schiff is now facing potential criminal arrest. There is a criminal investigation that has been confirmed. The U.S. Attorney's Office out of Maryland is actually investigating Schiff for alleged mortgage fraud. Shifty Schiff, he got the name for a reason, apparently, right? So this is a report from the Federal Housing Finance Agency. They sent this letter to the DOJ referring him for criminal prosecution because they're like, wait a second, why is it that Adam Schiff, the representative from California, is from California, but getting a deal on his Maryland property as though it's his primary residence? Because you kind of can't do that, right? That's Letitia James is being accused of a very similar thing. You can't do that because there's a different rate. If you would, you're actually going to save money if you declare it as your primary residence, because if it's your primary residence, the thinking is, you know what? Basically, you're going to pay that bill no matter what. Come hell and high water, you are going to continue to pay your mortgage for your primary residence. The vacation home, if you're up against it, maybe you'll let that one slide. And so consequently, you will get a lower rate on something that is considered your primary residence. But here's the thing. If you're the congressman from California, then how is your primary residence in Maryland? It seems kind of basic, kind of simple. This is the letter. Let me quote from it. Based on media reports, Mr. Adam B. Schiff has in multiple instances, this is William Pulte writing, falsified bank documents and property records to acquire more favorable loan terms impacting payments from 2003 through 2019 for a Potomac, Maryland-based property. As regulator of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and the FH loan banks, federal home loan banks, we take very seriously allegations of mortgage fraud or other criminal activity. Such misconduct jeopardizes the safety and soundness of FHFA's regulated entities and the security and the stability of the U.S. mortgage market. Now, he's not wrong about that because you know what? It's U.S. taxpayers who are effectively on the hook if Adam Schiff were to default on the mortgage, right? So part of having a system that works means everybody is truthful in how they approach this. But according to the FHFA, were not truthful. The Schiff family actually, and according to Donald Trump, who actually sent this out on social media the other day, somehow he got a copy of some of the mortgage documents, and he said, and I quote, Adam Schiff is a thief, he should be prosecuted just like they tried to prosecute me and everyone else. The only difference is we were totally innocent. It was all a giant hoax. Anyway, the DOJ has now officially launched that investigation, this getting confirmed by Laura Ingraham on her show last night. Let me show you a clip.
And tonight, an update on an Ingraham Angle exclusive, a Trump administration source telling the Angle that a criminal investigation of Adam Schiff is underway, conducted by U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland for possible charges involving mortgage fraud. Now, this follows the story we broke last month when the Federal Housing Finance Agency sent a criminal referral to the DOJ alleging that Schiff, in multiple instances, falsified bank documents and property records to acquire more favorable loan terms. In a 2011 affidavit signed by the then California congressman, he certified that a property in Montgomery County, Maryland, is his primary residence. He also owns a condo in Burbank, California, which he's also claimed is his primary residence, and said so in 2023 during his campaign for Senate.
I think just about every member of Congress has a residence in their state and a residence back in D.C. since we're in session much of the week. And people make a family decision where they're going to have their kids. But our principal residence, our primary residence is in California. It always has been and always will be.
Ruh-roh. Well, Senator Schiff has not responded to us about these allegations, but we were able to find a statement that his campaign spokesperson gave to CNN back in 2023. She said that the Burbank condo is his primary residence, but Adams' California and Maryland addresses have been listed as primary residences for loan purposes because they're both occupied throughout the year and to distinguish them from a vacation property. Well, the law does not work that way. Let me just say that, but nice try. Look, it's anyone's guess what happens next.
And now his campaign person is on record saying he did this. And Laura's right. The law does not work that way. And you can't declare both of them as primary residences. I mean, it's like he wanted to have his cake and eat it too. Shifty Schiff doing some shifty stuff. That is going to be a problem, okay? This is a criminal probe at this point. And, there was some question about the statute of limitations, but it looks like this is actually pretty recent. I mean, yes, in 2011, he was declaring the Maryland house as his primary residence. But now you're talking about documentation that's as recent as 2022. I think they have something from 2023, I believe. So these reports are adding up to a whole lot of problems. When this first came out, Adam Schiff, I don't think he knew what to do. And so he went and did this rambling social media thing. I'm going to show it to you in a second, where he just started attacking Trump. And, oh my gosh, I can't believe that Trump is saying this and that out of the Oval Office. Had nothing to do, really, with his mortgage concerns. Because don't forget, Trump had just sent this one out. President Trump had just sent this. Adam Schiff is a thief, and he had the mortgage document there to share with everyone. And Senator Schiff's response was this. Listen to this, guys, and tell me what you think about Adam Schiff's weak, weird response.
So I literally just got off the plane and, of course, read all the clips about what just took place in the Oval Office. I can't think of a more shameful display by a president of the United States in my lifetime. And when I think about all that the greatest generation did, the values that it fought for, when I think of what the country has stood for since, how we have defended democracy around the world, how we have come to the aid of our allies and friends, to see that all so shamefully betrayed is just heartbreaking. What will it take to awake the conscience of this country? Is this now what America is? We are reduced to some kind of a extortionary protectionist racket where a leader of a country whose citizens have fought and died valiantly standing up to a Kremlin dictator.
Oh my gosh, he's tough to take, right? Oh, it goes on and on. I mean, a criminal enterprise, a dictatorship. I just have to say, Shifty Schiff, if that's really the way it is, and I know that's what you think, or maybe it's not even what you think, maybe it's just what you've been told to think, it's just what you think is going to work from a political perspective, I would just say this. Why is it that Americans really seem to be with the president? Why is it that the Democrat brand is being seen, not in my words, but in the words of a CNN host, as garbage?
Particular point, the Democratic brand is in the basement. It is total and complete garbage in the mind of the American public. The Democratic Party's net favorable rating, record lows in all three. Wall Street Journal, 30 points underwater. CNN, 26 points underwater. Gallup, 26 points underwater. And that is being driven in large part by discontent within the Democratic base. The Democratic base wants something different. We'll ultimately end up seeing who they choose. It'll be quite the thing who ultimately gets the rose.
Yeah. And not only did he say they were effectively garbage, he went on to say that this president, President Trump, may go down in history as the most prolific president getting just stuff done more than anyone else. So this is profound. This is a CNN person saying this. Let's play it.
The Donald Trump administration is arguably the most influential this century and probably as well dating back a good portion of the last century as well. Love it, like it, lump it. Trump is remaking in the United States of America. Let's talk about tariffs first, right? There's all this talk that Donald Trump always chickens out when it comes to tariffs. No tacos for Trump. The effective tariff rate, get this. It's 18%, the highest since the FDR administration in the 1930s, up from, get this, just 2% last year. From just 2% last year, we're talking about a level, an effective tariff rate level, get this, 9 times as high this year than last year. But it's not just on tariffs, which of course Donald Trump ran on, in which you're seeing a tremendously influential presidency. What about immigration? Of course, Trump ran and has always run on a very hawkish immigration platform. Get this, 2025 net migration in the United States down at least 60% from last year. In fact, we may be heading for the first time in at least 50 years in which we have net negative migration into the United States. And last year, of course, in 2024, the net migration in the U.S. was 2.8 million. This year, we might be talking about negative net migration. My goodness gracious. Now, of course, this is part of a larger story, as I was mentioning. We're talking about immigration, net migration. We're talking about the effective tariff rate. But get this. How is Donald Trump doing it? Well, he is signing a ton of executive orders. Get this, 180, the most in a year since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Oh my goodness, you have to go back to the first half of the 20th century, the last century, and to make a comparison, Joe Biden signed, get this, just 77 during his entire first year, and we're only a little bit in August so far, and Donald Trump making history with 180 executive orders signed so far this year. So that's why I said that in my mind, Donald Trump is the most influential president of this century and probably dating back a good portion of the last century. That is because he is remaking the country in terms of tariffs. He is remaking the country in terms of net migration, and he is remaking the country in terms of how much policy changes he's putting through in executive orders. As I said, it truly is history making. Love it, like it, or lump it.
I don't know how he showed his face at the office the next day, but anyway, Harry Anton admitting that indeed this presidency is likely the most influential, certainly in our generation, but most likely, you can go back all the way to FDR and you're not seeing anything like this. So it's pretty significant. And I think that's what scares the H-double-L, if you would, out of the likes of Adam Schiff. So this investigation now, criminal investigation, is underway into Adam Schiff. And, it's sort of amazing to me because it's like, buddy, you're saving like a half a point on your mortgage, right? I realize it adds up over time. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about saving every dime you can. But you don't do it by saying, I got 2 primary residences. You don't do it by saying my primary residence, when you are the representative from California, is in Maryland. So now again, the Maryland court has opened this criminal investigation. He joins Letitia. I believe it's Maryland that also has the Letitia James. So they're getting up to speed on their mortgage market stuff. If we can say that, right? They're really going to have to get in tune with how this mortgage market works. Anyway, you can't do that. And Adam Schiff is finding that out, perhaps the hard way. We'll see how these allegations turn out. Letitia James may also be finding out. We'll see what happens with her the hard way, just exactly how it's all going to go down. I mean, the markets have been crazy today, though. I will say this. The markets, even with everything that's going on with the tariffs, et cetera, you are seeing a lot of upside continue in these markets. And so it's really good to see that. It's really, really good to see that.